Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Nemeka Onyeka Oderere. The question I want to ask directly is, why are the governors not addressing their people? Why are the governors of the 36 states, especially the states where the protest has turned chaotic, why are they not addressing their people? You see, the mistake we make in Nigeria is that we focus so much on Abuja, and we comfortably forget that we have the sub-sovereign that controls 48% of the resources of Nigeria. 48% of the poverty in Nigeria, 100% of the poverty in Nigeria actually contributed by those at the sub-sovereign level, the state governors. You know, the truth be said, let us not waste our time. Our focus as Nigerians should be on total restructuring of Nigeria. The only thing that can save Nigeria, the only thing that can reduce the triple demons of poverty, insecurity, corruption in Nigeria is for us to totally unbundle and restructure the whole constitutional, physical, socio-economic and governance structure of Nigeria back to what we used to have in 1960, 1963. That is the only thing that can reset this country. Every other demand we are making, every other thing we are complaining, being power, ago, poverty, corruption, are all subsets and offshoots of the foundational problem of Nigeria that started in 1966. We must tell ourselves the governors should be held responsible. We are not holding, and I want to break this down. By the reason of the Land Use Act, land users 100% in the hand of the governors. Food insecurity in Nigeria, food insufficiency in Nigeria can be wholly attributable to the inactivities and the corruption of the governors and local government chairmen. Agriculture is not in the exclusive list. I give you an example. You know, when we begin to situate our problems well and ask the right questions and do the right things and make the right demands, we'll be able to profile solutions and get to our salvation. The only thing that can salvage Nigeria is total overhaul. Every protest, every demand should be total overhaul of the constitutional and physical framework of Nigeria back. And this thing can only happen when all the constituent units and arm of government agree to it. The governors have a role to play. Even if the National Assembly adopt 1963 Constitution as a new grand norm for Nigeria, it will still need the concurrence of 24 House of Assembly or 24 states, and the governors are agreeing to it because they control practically their state assemblies as rubber stamps. So what do we do? I'll give you an example. We talk about poverty, we talk about hunger. Imo State is my state. See the level of insecurity. See what happened on Monday, on Tuesday, on Wednesday. In Imo State, we have that two field attack brigade business, military headquarters, we have the state police, Yet criminals, hoodlums came into the heart of Owerri, the ring road, the Wedra, and shut down the whole of Imo State. And we have a governor. We have local government. We have people who collect. See, sometimes they will tell you, oh, we don't control security. But these governors take 10% of allocations to their state as security vote. If you know you don't control security and you cannot enforce security, why do you take security vote? I'll give you two examples. There was a time in Abia State when insecurity was so rife. Traders were being hunted by bandits. Oisikanku was on the rise. Give it to T.O.G. T.O.G. mobilized his people. And that was how the Bakassi came to be. In 6 months, they swept those criminals out of Abia State, working with the police and the army. In Anambra State, similar thing happened. 2006, Peter he became governor. Anambra was a no-go area. Peter mobilized that assembly, passed a law banning kidnapping, criminalizing people's houses that are used to house kidnapping, mobilized the people, armed them, and in 6 months, they chased away the bandits. And Anambra was voted the safest state in Nigeria for 5 whole years under Peter Obi. What do we do? Imo has 305 electoral wards. We've written proposals to the governors on how they can create agro wealth in the state. Imo has a landmass of 5,530 square kilometers, 553,000 hectares of arable land. If Imo State government decide today, in each of the 305 electoral wards, to set up agro-industrial clusters, 100 hectares each, in every electoral ward, under a missions community diaspora public-private public agreement, it will cost 1.5 billion to set up a cluster. They are not bringing their fuck and jack because they are scared of bringing their money so that they will not have enough to loot. From each of these clusters, we'll be able to generate 200 direct jobs and 100 indirect jobs. From each of these clusters that will be used, that will secure, that will set up with 1.5 billion naira, we'll be able to generate about 2 billion naira annually. We'll be able to create 200 direct jobs and 300 indirect jobs. That simply means we'll be creating over 610 billion naira revenue annually in Imo State. We'll be creating over 61,000 jobs. We'll be reclaiming over 30,000 hectares of land that will have been used by bandits and criminals for their safe haven. Which simply means we will have rescued 61,000 youths that will have been misguided out of poverty to join the unknown government and all the criminal entities to torment their labor. But the governors will not do it. They are not supposed to bring, we're not asking them to bring money. What the governors will do, meet the communities under each ward. They will donate their land. You cannot take their land by force. Gazette their land, value their land. It will be the equity contribution in the special purpose vehicle that will be set in every electoral ward for this purpose. When you do this, first the land, the local government has allocation. Okigwe local government area where I come from, we receive allocation of not less than 300 million naira every month. That's about 3.6 billion naira every month, stolen and looted without anything happening there. Out of this 3.6 billion that are looted annually in Okigwe local government area at Jack allocation, if they bring out 1.5 billion, they will set up 100 hectares industrial agro park. First, with industrial boreholes, we will help them to set up the agro parks that will mint and create wealth in Imo State. The same thing applicable to every other state in Nigeria. Nigeria has no business. Nigeria has no business being the poverty capital of the world. Nigeria has no business being the most terrorized country in Africa. If the governors are doing their job, every one of us are busy shouting, as a rock, blah, 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 blah. The president does not control the land. Agriculture is under the governors and local government chairmen. If you don't know, we have no business even having federal minister of agriculture if we are right thinking in Nigeria. But none of the governors are talking. They collect security votes, 10% every year, yet they cannot provide security for their people. So the truth is, the one demand Nigeria should be making, anybody making another demand is just wasting his time. We must totally restructure Nigeria back to the 1963 constitutional framework. Whole line and sinker. Bring out that 1963 constitution, dust it up, change the 4 regions there to 6 regions, adopt the whole physical constitutional framework. The only thing we will introduce is single term of office of 6 years for presidents and the governors, and 2 terms of 5 years each for members of the legislature, both at the federal and state level. Adopt the same physical framework. Government officials should be part-time. Restructure the electoral system to have transparency so that the election will be like we had it in 1993 under Humphrey Wosho. As long as we have the convoluted constitutional arrangement, we are operating under the same convoluted constitutional arrangement we have today, with people like Mahmoud Yakubu as INEC chairman, we will be wasting our time. Everything we are complaining, all these protests will end to nothing if we don't overhaul the whole constitutional framework of Nigeria back to the 1963 framework, adopting hook, line, and sinker, the physical, resource production, and control architecture. Then, when we do this, when we restructure the whole process and reduce the pressure in Abuja, let everybody control their regions, control what happens in their region. Let people hold their own people accountable. 50% of resources should be retained in the areas where they are generated. 30 to the central port to help those who are not buoyant enough, and 20 to the federal level, with only the function of the federal government reduced to security and foreign affairs. When we do this, Nigeria will fly. And Nigeria can only fly, and the constitutional framework can only be restructured when the governors are on board. Even if you put an engine in Aso Rock, unless we overhaul Nigeria, this country will continue to totter at the brink of precipice. I rest my case. God bless you. God bless Nigeria.